لا سهلا إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. So today, inshallah, everyone, we'll be learning about the broken letters, the Huruful Muqatta'a. And so I know really you all excited to be in this session today. There are three rules that we'll be learning about the broken letters. And these are something that you all probably at one point in time you'll have to use them in reciting your Quran. And I'll show you today and you'll see what I mean by that, inshallah. So stay tuned. So we do have this session every Sunday. So if you're really excited to learn and be part of this every Sundays, so join us together here to learn about the broken letters of the Quran and learn about all the other aspects of the tajweed, inshallah, every Sundays, inshallah. So today, as you can see my slide, I'll be presenting about that. I've mentioned, so Huruf al-Muqatta'a. What is Huruf al-Muqatta'a, everyone? Um, Huruf al-Muqatta'a, they also called the disjointed letters, or they are called the broken letters. So disjointed letters or broken letters, and these are they are 14 in numbers, meaning they don't get pronounced. These are letters. People see them as words because they are connected together in the Quran. But then they don't pronounce as letters. They don't pronounce as a word. They rather pronounce as letters. So if you look at this, these are the Huruf al-Muqatta'a. There are 14 of them in the Quran. There are 14 of them in the Quran. So you see them beginning the surahs of the Quran. And so you've seen this before, you know what I'm actually talking about. There are rules to pronounce these broken letters. And there are three rules that we'll learn today, and so that you can be able to pronounce those words or letters correctly. So they're not words, they don't have meaning. So all these symbols you see on top of them, these are not sound. They're not fatha. This is not a fatha. This is not a fatha whatsoever. These are called the mad symbol. And so the huruf al-muqatta'a, they exist there are 14 types of them in the Quran. And they start at the beginning of about 29 surahs in the Quran. Imagine we have 114 surahs in the Quran, and the Huruf al-Muqatta'a start at the beginning of about 29 of the Quran surahs, right? And for all of you looking at this, you might have seen this before, and I'm very certain that you've seen this before in the Quran. But how do you pronounce it? What's the rules? How long you make them pronounce for is what we'll learn today. And I think this is the eighth module of our curriculum here in the accelerated Quran reading program. For those of you who have attended the webinar with me before about our program, you see this is module 8. Last week we actually went through the module 7, module 8, and we have module 9 and 10. But module 9 and 10, we don't teach it to level 1 students. We teach it to students who are actually, who are a bit older. So the rules of stopping and the alamat al-waqf and the ahkam mim sakin. And so this we teach to students who are in level 2. But for students who are in level 1, these are what they need. All these 8 modules I've actually discussed so far since August. You can see we started discussing all these modules in August this year. So August, September, October, November. So at the end of November, we're already done with the modules. And so for those of you who have joined me in these modules since the beginning of August this year, you'll see that we've learned every bit of all the skills required to learn to read the Quran in format. So it's not really hard like a lot of people think it is. It's not really hard. It just requires some kind of consistency and the teacher who knows what the kids should learn. So there are 14 types of huruf al-muqatta'a in the Quran. And so these letters must be pronounced separately with their names on any other specific rules that they have, right? And so these words, or I was not call them words, sorry, I'll call them letters. They're connected together, so people think they are actually words. And some student will call this one alama, right? Because they don't know, they thought probably those symbols are fatha, but these are not fatha. This is not a fatha. This is called harakatul mad, right? Harakatul mad. I'm going to recite each of this and I'll tell you the rules that actually make me do it that way. So like this one here, you want to pronounce this. So you pronounce the name. So the letters are pronounced, and although they are joined together, they don't pronounce with a sound. You pronounce each individual letter separately. So like this one will be alif, lam, mim. This is gonna be alif, lam, mim. صاد. All right, and this is gonna be ألف لام را. This is ألف لام ميم را. This is gonna be كاف ها يا عين صاد. This is gonna be طه. This is going to be طاسيم. This will be طاسين. And this is ياسين. This is gonna be صاد. And this is going to be حميم. So this is also حميم. This will be عين سين قاف. This one is قاف noon. You see, I'm counting my fingers, right? I'm actually applying some rules in reciting this. And so let's go deeper into the three rules of pronouncing. So the way I recited it, this is how some teachers will teach the student and say, just recite it this way. But the student do not know why they actually having to do that way. What's the reason? So we don't just teach, dogmatically here. We have students learn the reason and why and how they will do it on their own if there's need to do it on their own. Okay, so that's the best way to actually teach students. So they're not just learning something from the mouth of the teacher. They know why and how the teacher actually do that way. So let's move on and explain. This is really very simple explanation of the rules here, right? This is when you pronounce صاد, you see, قاف, noon, and all that. See the way I pronounce the Taha. This is the Indo-Pak Quran font. They write it and put those stuff there, right? They put the rules there on top of the letters. So this one is Taha. So the ha is pronounced for two counts. You see, they have a tiny alif mat there. This is the Indo-Pak font. And so it's actually, they put the Tajweed rules on top of those letters right away. Like this one, you know that you pronounce the ya twice. That's what I did. Yasin. And so this symbol that you've been seeing on top of all these letters is called the Harakat al-Mad. And this is al-Mad al-Lazim, right? Al-Mad al-Lazim al-Harfi. So Mad al-Lazim is of two types, right? We have the Harfi, we have the Kalmi. So all these med symbol here, they're supposed to go for 6 counts. So Mad al-Lazim, the minimum and the maximum count for Mad al-Lazim is 6 counts. So you count your fingers 6 times whenever any letter has that. So the name of that letter get pronounced for 6 counts. Okay, like this one here, Alif is pronounced only with the name. The Lam is pronounced, but you see the Ra is pronounced with 2 counts, right? And so we're going to go into the reason why it's that. So Alif Lam Mim. You see, when I pronounce this meme here, I pronounce with shadda, and I'll tell you why later on. And this one as well, Alif Lam Mim Ra. Right? So there's a rule that guides pronouncing any letter that has this kind of combination here. You see all this meme here, they're having something like shadda on top of them. So talk of why is it that and why are they having that kind of situation, right? And so let's go and explain the rules. And so you all can practice and know today you get to know the real reason why I did that pronunciation I just did earlier and why and how long the duration of the elongation will go for each of the words. So the rules of pronouncing the broken letters. What are the rules of pronouncing the Quran broken letters? So let's talk about them. The first rule is when you have 5 letters, there are 5 letters anytime they are part of the broken letters. So there are 14 of the broken letters, right? Anytime they are part of the Huruf al-Muqatta'a, the disjointed letters, they get pronounced for 2 counts. So they get elongated as a mad. So it's a form of mad al-tabi'i. right? So the mad of disjointed letters, the mad of Huruf al-Muqatta'a. And so here now we see Hayyu Tuhrin. That's the acronym the scholars of Tajweed give those 5 letters. So Ha. So anytime you see a Ha or a Ya or a Ta, a Ha or a Ra as part of a combination of Huruf al-Muqatta'a, you pronounce them for 2 count. So they will naturally not have any mat symbol. Like you see, these 5 letters, when they are part of the broken letters, they will not have the harakat al-mad. They will not have it. They will not have this, snaky bending, shape structure, right? So this is not a fatha. Okay, it's not a fatha. It's called harakatul mad. All right, harakatul mad. So mad symbol, right? So it denotes mad lazim, meaning any letter. We'll get to that. But the first thing, the rule number one is any letter ha, ya, ta, ha, ra. You see those 5 letters. So hayy tuhurin. These 5 letters, anytime they are part of the broken letters, they get pronounced for 2 count. And that's why you see the ha here will pronounce as ha mim. You don't just say ha mim. You're gonna say ha mim. So maybe you've listened to your teacher recite that way, or you were taught that way, but you don't know why. That's the rule. It's a very, very fine rule of tajweed that people needs to learn. Kids in that program here as young as 5, 6 years old learn this and they able to apply the rules. So you can do that as well. So if you want to join us in the reading fluency program, let's get started. It's really amazing. We've helped over 300 students achieve this goal of reading themselves the Quran for the last 5 years. So if you want to be part of this journey and you want to be a success, you want to achieve success for a child in reading the Quran themselves, you don't want to waste the time of a child spending, countless of months and years and wasting a lot of money in programs that will take 2, 4 years and still not getting kids to read and understand the rules of Tajweed. So save your time, save your money, and get started here in the accelerated Quran reading program that will take you 4 months to learn to read the Quran. See, we've covered the entire curriculum of this program in just 4 months. We started August, September, October, November, December, and I'm actually just having class once in a week. Imagine that. And the kids in the program have like 4 classes weekly, so they have more time to practice, take turns, and like do revisions and do practice on their own with the class and on their own with the teacher as well every week. But you see, we're just doing this since August to October to November, and we're able to cover the entire curriculum within just that time. So I'm excited to have you all in this program. If you want to join, and maybe your child has been struggling for a while, it's been taking them too long, and you couldn't find a way to get them to learn to read the Quran themselves. It's getting harder, and they're forgetting all their learning. So come join us. Come join us in one of our parent demo sessions that's coming up this week, so we can explain how the program works for you, the days and time of the classes, and all other things you need to know about the program. Okay, so join us. So let's continue with our learning here. Uh, the letters of Huruf al-Muqatta'a, I mentioned there are 14 types of them. When you have them, they pronounce with what? With some certain rules. Of course, the letters get pronounced by the names. So they don't pronounce with the words. They're joined together, of course, but they're not pronounced as a word. So like I mentioned earlier, so this one is Hamim. You see the meme get longer for 6 count. The ha go for 2 count. This is because the ha is part of the disjoint letters that will have 2 counts. So hayyu turin is the acronym for those 5 letters. Anytime they are part of the broken letters or the huruf al-muqatta'a or the disjointed letters, they get pronounced with what? With 2 counts. And you see the same thing here. Yasin, right? So the ya go for 2 count as well. Yasin. And you see this one. This also will be Taha, Taha, right? And this will be Alif Lam Ra. So the Ra will go for 2 counts, right? Alif Lam Ra. So Ra will go for 2 counts. Right? تلك آيات الكتاب الحكيم. So that's how the rule number one works, right? So anytime you see these 5 letters as part of the broken letters, they get pronounced 2 counts with a mad tabi'i. So the second rule is the rule of the mad symbol itself, which I've actually briefly explained a while ago. So when you have this mad symbol that we call the harakatul mad together with any letter of the broken letter. So what do you do? What do you do? What you're gonna do is you're gonna pronounce that name of that letter for 6 counts, and that's what I've been doing for the last 10 minutes right now. So here now, you pronounce the alif will just get pronounced with its own name, no any elongation, because alif is not part of those 5 letters I mentioned earlier. So here the lam will go for 6 count, the pronunciation of the lam as a name, the pronunciation of mim as a name, and also sad as a name. So all these will go for 6 count. So you see alif lam mim sad, or this طاسيم، right? So you see the ha and all this. So this is the harakat al-mad, and that's its function in the Quran. Okay, in this huruf al-Muqatta'a. So like I mentioned, is part of what we call the mad al-lazim. So mad al-lazim, they're called the compulsory, lazim is, perpetual mad. So any time you see this mad on top of the huruf al-Muqatta'a, make sure you pronounce the name of those letters for 6 counts. You see, I'm pronouncing the name. I'm not saying ka, I'm saying ka. Ha, ya, you see, the ha and ya, these are part of the hayy tuhurin I mentioned earlier. So, kaf, ha, ya, ayn, sad. So we're going to learn some other modules later on, which is about the nun sakin and tanween. See, when the ayn is pronounced as its own, the name of the letter ayn is written this way. Okay, ayn, right? So when you pronounce it as part of the broken letters, the noon will get silent, right? Because it's stopping on ayn. So anytime you see a noon second together with a sod, what happens? You have al-ikhfa. And that's why I did some very heavy pronunciation of the sod there. Because sod also is a letter of isti'la as well. So is a letter of isti'la, is a letter of khafdi as well. Okay, so that will be كافها يا عين صاد. Right? This is so beautiful, and this is how the Quran should be recited. And so, like, you read it and pronouncing it perfectly. And this is the best way to learn the Quran and to transmit the Quran learning to all the students and all the kids. So we preserve the perfect pronunciation of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so the last rule, which will make us round up this call today or this talk, is the third rule of pronouncing meme whenever you have it together with some other letters of huruf al-muqatta'a having the mad symbol. There are two things that's happening here. So anytime you see a meme, and that's the rule I teach the students in the program here, I didn't go into the difficulty of the grammar of the tajweed here. I tell them when you see a meme in the huruf al-muqatta'a, and you see another letter that has also the mad symbol. See, this meme here has mad symbol. The letter before it also had a mad symbol. Okay, so this is how we explain it to 5 years old kids without making it complex to them. When you see a mad symbol and you see a meme right after a letter that also have a mad symbol, then you're gonna pronounce the meme with shadda. Okay, see here the same thing here. The scene has a mad symbol, and the meme also here has a mad symbol. So this meme is pronounced with a shadda. Here as well, the meme here will get pronounced with the shadda because there's a letter coming before it also had a mad symbol. The same thing here. The meme here also had a mad symbol, and the raw also had a mad symbol. So like that's kind of like the simplest way to explain to a lay student, a beginner, to do it, because actually what is happening between this lam and this meme is idgham. Idgham is what is happening, and idgham ensures merging and it brings some shadda in, right? Because the lam will pronounce as lam. Let me change the color of this. The lam is going to pronounce as lam, right? So having its own silence, but the meme coming after it, meme. So the meme is having a haraka, and so this is called what? Memo sakin rule, which we'll learn later on. So the rule of memo sakin ensures that when you have two memes come together, the first meme is silent, the other one is what? Is it's not silent. You have al-idgham. We call it idgham mithlain, right? We call it idgham mithlain. So meaning you have two same letters together coming together, so this idgham will happen there. So that's why an idgham ensures that there's merging and shadda comes into that. pronunciation. Alif Lam Mim, right? And everything goes that's the same way here. And so, just a rule of thumb, these are the three rules of pronouncing Huruf al-Muqatta'a. And anywhere you see the Huruf al-Muqatta'a, at this point right now, you should know how to pronounce them perfectly with the right rules of Tajweed. So, inshallah, next week, we'll move into the next topic. So, this is a good reason why you need to join our accelerated Quran reading program is that aside from you learning the class and listening here, you will be able to practice and pronounce those rules together in the class and get some homework and get some revision as well. So once kids learn how to read this, they start having this. So I'll put this reading examples on the screen so you can screenshot it and actually practice it. Give it to someone who knows how to recite the Quran and apply the rules I've just discussed today. And inshallah, we'll meet next week and we'll go, inshallah, learning all the concepts of the Tajweed. So join us if you really have a child that's right now forgetting Quran lessons, not motivated, or the child has been learning for a while, they're not getting results, they're finding Quran learning so difficult, they're forgetting lessons. These are common problems students have. So we have solutions to all these issues in our program here. So by creating a winning environment for students in the program here, we have a way to track the learning habit to ensure they're not learning for too long without results, and also having them to learn the Tajweed as I'm teaching for the last 4 months here, learning the nitty-gritty of the Tajweed rules and also having some revisions and practice as well weekly. So join us in the program if you're really excited about this, and so we can get across this skills to your child, inshallah. Bismillah. So we'll meet next week. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.